Good afternoon. It's what, 1 o'clock your time? I'm sorry about that, guys. I had some repair work being done on my water heater system in the apartment, and I didn't want to be online when I had to answer questions and whatnot. So, because sometimes they ask questions, sometimes they don't even talk to me. They talk to my wife. But anyhow, all fixed, all done. Thank you very much for your patience. We're talking about the National Guard as being. Trump says he's going to go after Chicago at the towards the end of the week. He's trying to get all the units lined up that he's going to send in there, and he just got a judge that said what he did with the troops troops, not National Guard. I think it was the troops that he sent to California was illegal. It could have been the National Guard too. But he's funny, you know. He wouldn't send the National Guard into Washington, D.C. when they rioted and they took over the Capitol building, but he didn't care then, you know. Now it's different, you know. Now he's worried about himself. I don't think he's healthy. I've heard a lot of comments about that. He'll probably outlive all of us, but I don't think his brain will. But anyhow, there's just a lot of stuff going on. Finally, somebody came out and Bernie Sanders got his back in this guy who's an oyster farmer in Maine. And he's basically a regular sort of guy, but he's well-spoken. And he understands the situation, and he's not running doesn't want to really run as a Democrat because he believes the Democratic Party is just too similar to the Republican Party in terms of how they operate. And he's right. But you got to go back to our founding fathers when they put together this Constitution and the voting laws and whatnot back then. They did it in such a way where they believed that the mass populace, wasn't capable of electing capable leaders. So they went to things like the Electoral College, which wasn't in the beginning, but, you know, because there weren't enough people to have an Electoral College at the beginning. But the restrictions they put it on voting back then, where women weren't allowed to vote and other things, these were all things where it was considered not an intelligent group of people out there that could put together and vote and pick a qualified leader. Now, the system that we have in place now needs some alterations to it because the Electoral College basically discounts certain states because they don't have more than 2 or 3 votes. Only the big major states really are the influences, and the big major states that are influencing are also controlled by big corporations and big business. So this is not something that you really want to see going on, but it is, and I don't know whether we can do anything about it or not, but I'm tired of shit. Lucy's over here. She's sleeping. I've been giving her medicine for the itching, and I'm not sure if it's working yet or not. But she's sleeping right now, and that's good. And she's very close to me a lot now, and I'm very close to her because we're both getting a little older. I'm a lot older. Dog years aside, I'm still older than she is a lot. And I worry about her. But anyhow, getting back to what I was saying. See how I wander all the time, man? But I know I'm doing it. I do it on purpose. I don't know whether Newsom is the right choice or not, because he's coming out of a very corporate state. You know, they had the 4th largest economy in the world was in California. And Trump's trying to tear it apart by, removing all the agricultural workers and everything from the state, to make life more difficult for people. But that's not just the state. That's not just that one state. He's making it difficult for people all over the country and in some cases the world, because we do export a certain amount of fruit and stuff to other countries. Oh, wow. Tired. I've been sitting here playing this Japanese puzzle game since, I don't know, 9:45 this morning, waiting for this guy to show up and then do his job. Boy, I'm getting... Anyhow, I don't know where we're going with this in terms of the future. I don't think Donald Trump can be stopped. And I've told you before, it's not Donald Trump. Trump is not smart enough to be pulling some of the stuff he's pulling, okay? He's being influenced by members of the people, the authors of 2025, Project 2025. Those people need to be arrested for treason. You know, and then we can start getting some results. You know, it's going to be... You're looking at something now that, you know, people don't understand what Trump erases in a minute with an executive order. It's done. It's gone. This is bad. You know, it's done. Or the Supreme Court goes out and revokes Roe versus Wade. The consequences go on for years. And to bring anything back to normal, you can't bring Roe versus Wade back 100% because of the Supreme Court's constitutional decisions, but you can bring other things in to help. The programs that are being destroyed in this country will never be back to the same status as they were before, which might be a good thing, because some changes were necessary to them, not dissolving them completely like what Trump does, and then Medicare and everything else. That's all. Medicare and Social Security's lack of long-term future is due to short-sightedness on the Republicans' part, and the Democrats not forcing the issue when they had the chance, when they were in control. So the Democrats are just as guilty in some things in the proposed expiration date of the Social Security as are the Republicans. Republicans more so, because they started borrowing money from it during the Reagan administration to balance the budget. That was the most successful program in the history of America. Okay? The only program that maintained itself, paid for itself, because we're the ones that contributed the money to it, you know, so that's a long story. But again, you know, it doesn't take... When unemployment's high, they're not paying. They don't pay Social Security taxes on unemployment checks. You know, so I know I didn't. So I know it's not done. But there are all kinds of strange things going on now. You know, Howard Stern postponed his big announcement. Did he get fired? I don't know why they'd fired a guy. I mean, he basically built Sirius FM. You know, they went and got him. They paid him a ridiculous amount of money. That's their problem. They want to fire him, fine. I don't know how popular that station is anymore, or any of them, or the streaming radio. I don't know how you do that. The subscription radio, you know. I listen to DHL down here. It streams down here. It's from Dover, New Jersey. It was about 15 minutes. The station was about 15 minutes from where I lived in Parsippany. So I'm a big DHL fan. So, but it's gonna be an interesting week if Trump sends troops into Chicago. That's going to cause some conflict, and the prediction was that what he's doing is taking National Guardsmen from other states and bringing them in. You know, now DC's okay because that's just a tiny little community that does, you know, it's not part of any state really. So it doesn't really it's not a big deal down there. Well, the Ohio National Guard going in with weapons, considering you're the only unit ever been called up that's killed Americans on American soil, was a little surprising. Coming in, bringing them in armed. You got these guys they call, like, they're the real true weekend warriors. You know, they go out once a month on a weekend and they play Army or Marines or Navy or whatever it is. You know, a lot of them, some of them are full time, but most of them are that once a weekend. You know, they get a 2-year enlistment or 6-year. I don't know how long it was. It was 6 years for me when I joined, and I did it for 6 years. And the only time I didn't, I did 6 months of active duty service. You know, which was another joke because there were just nothing but National Guardsmen going in at the time, because that's where they were trying to get. They were trying to build the National Guard up because they needed reserves for what was going on in Vietnam. And Vietnam was just someplace nobody wanted to go. But nobody wanted to not serve their country, you know. It was just it was actually pretty cool at times, but after a while, it just got boring. And after I came out of the regular part of the Army, the basic training unit and everything, I told all my friends, don't join the Army. Go join the Air Force and the Marines. You're not going to learn anything in the Army. I said, they're too backward. And they were. Their training, the way they were training us was ridiculous. The vehicles that they had were ridiculous. They were, well, they didn't like the M14. I loved the M14. I could do long-range shooting with it. And I enjoyed the fact that I didn't have to wait till the guy was 30 feet away to be accurate. I don't want anybody that close to me that's shooting at me. But it had a lot of faults. But I loved the weapon, though. Now, National Guard troops at that particular time in life, we were not trained. I was in the maintenance company, and there was a lot of mechanics that were put in there. Guys that worked in real life on mechanics. They raced cars and stuff like that. That was good for that company was very proficient and did a lot of work. Cleaned up a lot of the battalion's messes. We took care of a lot of equipment that was left, because we were the last ones to go usually for the year, and we took care of all the equipment that was left up there by the rest of the Jersey Guard units, and we were good at it. But it was a battalion of us, a 122nd Maintenance Battalion that we're talking about. But anyhow, for the most part, when it came to stuff outside the Guard, we weren't trained in water rescue or anything like that. But we weren't really in a flood area, so that wasn't a major concern for us. But unless they had the equipment, they weren't really well trained for that. You needed to bring in Marine reserves or something like that. You couldn't do it with the National Guard. So my theory is that now the National Guard is made up of guys that came back from the military and joined, why they did that, didn't stay in the military. The benefits of staying in the military outweigh the benefits of being in the National Guard. But you get a lot of people in poor communities that are very patriotic, down south especially. They're very patriotic, good bunch of guys, and they join the National Guard to make extra money, to make ends meet. And they're not going for 6 years. They're going for 20. And then they're serious about it. So, and I think the active duty training has changed a lot too. But we'll end up seeing what's going to happen next end of this week or next week. It's only Tuesday. He's saying by the end of the week. He'll try to wait for the weekend, I think. You know, it would have been really hard to contact National Guard people on Labor Day because a lot of people go away. They're closing up their summer homes and stuff like that. You know, their shore houses or whatever, you know. All right, look, that's it for me. I will see you tomorrow, hopefully on time. I really apologize for that. I probably could have done it but you know, I don't want to have somebody interrupt me in the middle of something because it's very easy for me to lose my train of thought. Anyhow, please subscribe to the channel. It's makes me look good in the world, you know. And I need all the help I can get looking good at my age, you know. So subscribe to the channel, comment on the channel. My 14 subscribers comment every once in a while. They like it, you know, and all they do is they click the like button. That's great, you know. That just shows YouTube that I'm actually doing something besides taking up space. So in the meantime, have a wonderful day. And I'm sorry about this, and I'll see you tomorrow.